All right, let me ask you this. What do you think really happens when you don't text her back? It's not just silence, it's a game changer that flips the script in ways you wouldn't believe. Today, we're going deep into what goes through her mind when you pull away, and why this one simple move can completely change how she sees you. Trust me, stick around. You're not going to want to miss this. 1. The initial shock and self-doubt. When you stop texting a woman, her immediate reaction isn't just surface-level surprise. It's a cascade of thoughts and emotions that she might not even fully understand herself. At first, there's a momentary pause as she wonders, did he forget? Is he just busy? This initial stage is fleeting, but it's the trigger for everything that follows. Women often replay the most recent interactions in their minds, dissecting each word, gesture, and reaction. Was there a hint of disinterest? Did she say something awkward? The silence taps into a deeply ingrained need for social validation and connection. The more confident and self-assured you appear, the more potent this reaction becomes. She doesn't want to admit it, but your silence has already carved out space in her thoughts. The real complexity arises as the hours tick by. What starts as a mere flicker of uncertainty rapidly escalates into a spiral of questions. The modern dating scene, saturated with instant messaging and rapid replies, has conditioned most people to expect prompt responses. So, when you don't text her back, you break this norm and catch her off guard. This makes her re-evaluate her perception of you. Are you genuinely busy, or is there someone else? These thoughts plant seeds of self-doubt that can grow faster than she might care to acknowledge. If she's someone used to attention, this silence can feel even more jarring, amplifying the impact and making her hyper-aware of your absence. 2. The internal battle between ego and vulnerability. After the initial wave of self-doubt passes, an intense internal battle begins between her ego and vulnerability. The ego is a shield. It steps in to protect her sense of self-worth. He's the one missing out, it says, I don't need him. This defensive stance is common and might even manifest outwardly as indifference. She could act busier, post more on social media, or subtly try to signal that your absence doesn't faze her. But deep down, beneath the surface bravado, vulnerability lurks. The part of her that desires connection whispers, why didn't he text me back? Am I not good enough? This clash between ego and vulnerability is a pivotal moment. The stronger her interest in you, the more pronounced this struggle becomes. You're no longer just another name in her phone. You become a challenge, someone who's not predictable or easily swayed. This shift can lead to her investing more emotional energy into figuring out why you're different. It's worth noting that people are drawn to what they don't fully understand or control, and your silence fuels that intrigue. Each time she tries to suppress her curiosity, it springs back stronger. It's this internal tug-of-war that keeps you on her mind, far more than constant texting ever could. 3. The shift to over-analysis mode. Once the initial shock and internal battle settle, the over-analysis phase kicks in. This is where the wheels in her mind start spinning relentlessly. Every conversation, every message, and even the tone of your voice from past interactions is dissected. She might remember that one ambiguous joke or a seemingly insignificant pause in a conversation and wonder if that was a sign of something deeper. Her search for clues becomes almost obsessive, fueled by the mystery your silence creates. The modern world provides countless avenues for over-analysis. She could scroll through your social media, noticing if you've been active or if you've posted stories. Did you like someone else's post but not hers? Did you log in but not reply? The smallest digital breadcrumbs become part of a larger puzzle she's desperate to solve. This phase is crucial. It's where you shift from being just another guy to someone who's worth the mental investment. If she asks friends for their perspective, it's a clear sign you're living rent-free in her mind. They may try to reassure her, but even their opinions feed into the narrative she's creating. This over-analysis doesn't come from nowhere. It's rooted in a psychological need to make sense of things. Our brains are wired to seek patterns and answers, especially when faced with uncertainty. Your silence triggers this mechanism, making you seem more complex and therefore more valuable. It's here that she might even start to idealize you, filling in the blanks with qualities she finds attractive, which may or may not align with reality. 4. The psychological impact of uncertainty. Uncertainty is a powerful force in human psychology, and when you don't text back, it creates an environment rife with ambiguity. This ambiguity can be more impactful than direct rejection, triggering deep emotional responses. When someone feels uncertain, their mind works overtime trying to create narratives to fill the gap. This psychological phenomenon, known as cognitive closure, describes our instinctive desire to resolve uncertainty. For her, your silence isn't just absence. It's an unanswered question that lingers in her thoughts. The emotional impact of this uncertainty can manifest in different ways. She might start to replay moments where she felt connected to you, emphasizing positive interactions and trying to convince herself that your silence doesn't mean you're disinterested. On the flip side, she might magnify any minor hiccup in your past interactions as a potential reason for your sudden silence. This back-and-forth narrative fuels emotional investment. The more unresolved questions she has, the more space you take up in her mind. This is where the power dynamic subtly shifts. You go from being someone she was getting to know to someone she needs to understand. The unknown is alluring, and people are often drawn to what they don't fully comprehend. By not texting her back, you introduce a level of mystique that can make her view you as someone who's different from the rest. The silence sets you apart as someone who isn't readily available, and that scarcity can make you seem more valuable. 5. The breaking point, initiating contact. As your silence stretches on, there comes a tipping point, her breaking point. If she's genuinely interested and can't shake the questions racing through her mind, she'll make the first move. This doesn't always come as an obvious text. Sometimes it's a more subtle gesture, a like on an old photo, a comment on a story, or an indirect question sent through mutual friends. These are attempts to probe your reaction and gauge whether you notice or care. When she does reach out, even in a seemingly casual way, it's a testament to how your absence affected her. By making contact, she's acknowledging that she can't maintain the nonchalant facade any longer. This is a critical moment where the power balance shifts in your favor. The key is to respond in a way that acknowledges her effort, but doesn't immediately surrender your position. If she's reaching out, it means your silence has served its purpose. You've set yourself apart as a man who commands attention without needing to demand it. The most interesting part of this breaking point is that it doesn't just reveal her level of interest, it reshapes her perception of you. You're no longer the guy she could easily predict or fit into a box. You've shown that you value yourself enough not to chase, and this realization can make her approach you with renewed curiosity and respect. 6. The shift in her view of you. Once she's broken the silence and reached out, her view of you shifts. You're not just the guy she was texting, you're the man who dared to be different, who could walk away and be content with his own space. This is incredibly attractive because it taps into a fundamental truth about attraction. People are drawn to those who exude self-worth and confidence. By not texting her back immediately or chasing her attention, you've demonstrated that your life doesn't revolve around her. This subtle show of independence is powerful, and it shifts how she perceives you. This shift might lead her to approach interactions with you more thoughtfully. She's no longer assuming you'll always be there at her convenience. Now, she's the one considering how to keep your attention, not the other way around. This can lead her to initiate deeper, more meaningful conversations or make more effort to engage with you in person. The power dynamic has evolved, and it's now in your favor. However, it's essential to maintain this balance and not overplay your hand. If she feels that you're too distant or uninterested, it could backfire. The goal is to show that while you're independent, you're still receptive when she invests in the connection. This keeps the dynamic healthy and ensures that she continues to view you as a high-value man who respects his time and knows his worth. 7. What you should do next. When she finally makes contact, the way you respond is crucial. The key here is balance. Respond in a way that's friendly and engaging, but don't rush to reply or make it seem like you were waiting on her message. Keep your responses measured, demonstrating that you're interested but not reliant on her attention. This is where maintaining your frame is vital. You want to show that your life is full and that while you're happy to reconnect, you haven't been idly waiting. A good way to handle this is by taking time to reply thoughtfully. If she asks you how you've been, share a genuine snippet of your life that shows you're active and fulfilled. It could be something as simple as mentioning a new hobby or project you're working on. This reinforces the image of a man who's confident and self-sufficient. By staying composed and keeping the interaction balanced, you maintain the respect and intrigue you've built. Remember, the silence was never about manipulation. It was about setting boundaries and showing that your value doesn't hinge on anyone else's approval. When you respond from this mindset, you continue to build a connection rooted in mutual respect and genuine interest. It's not about playing games. It's about establishing a foundation where both sides recognize each other's worth. 8. The importance of self-control. One of the most valuable lessons you can take from this experience is understanding the power of self-control. When you chose not to text her back, it wasn't about manipulating her emotions. It was about prioritizing your own boundaries and showing that you're not at the mercy of constant communication. This restraint demonstrates that you're a man who knows when to engage and when to step back. Women are drawn to men who exhibit emotional discipline because it signals confidence and a strong sense of self-worth. Self-control is not just about holding back from texting. It's a trait that extends to every aspect of life. It reflects in how you handle challenges, respond to setbacks, and navigate relationships. When a woman sees that you can remain composed and unaffected by temporary silence, it suggests that you have the emotional intelligence to handle more significant situations with maturity. This quality is rare and, therefore, highly attractive. It creates a sense of stability and trust, making her more invested in you because she knows you won't waver under pressure or act impulsively. 9. Reinforcing your value through nonchalance. Nonchalance isn't about pretending not to care. It's about genuinely embracing a mindset where your happiness and worth aren't tied to another person's immediate reactions. When you don't rush to respond to her or show that you're eagerly waiting, you reinforce the idea that you're a high-value man who doesn't need validation from anyone. This subtle form of confidence is magnetic and hard to ignore. It communicates that you have a life full of purpose, interests, and goals that don't stop when someone exits or enters your life. Women are naturally drawn to men who have their own thing going on, who don't drop everything at the first sign of attention. This doesn't mean you should be distant or cold. It's about showing that while you're willing to invest in her, you don't need to sacrifice your own well-being or interests. When she sees that you're not defined by the attention she gives you, she respects you more and becomes more invested in winning your attention. 10. Building a sense of mystery. A significant part of attraction lies in maintaining a sense of mystery. While transparency and communication are essential in any healthy relationship, there's an element of allure in not revealing every aspect of yourself immediately. By not always being available or predictable, you create a dynamic where she wants to learn more about you. The silence you introduced earlier sets the stage for this mystery. It makes her wonder what you're doing, what you're thinking, and what keeps you occupied. This isn't about playing hard to get. It's about being genuinely interesting and multidimensional. Have hobbies, interests, and goals that aren't centered around her. Share them in conversations in a natural way, not to brag, but to show that your world is full and rich. This subtle intrigue makes interactions with you feel new and exciting, fostering a deeper connection because she realizes there's always more to discover about you. And there you have it, the powerful impact of silence, and how understanding these dynamics can transform your interactions. If you found value in this, don't forget to hit that like button and subscribe for more insights on mastering relationships and personal growth. Drop a comment below to share your thoughts or your experiences. Thanks for watching, and see you in the next video.